Google Sites. So this video is going to show you how to start the framework for your Google site, which you're going to use as a portfolio of your art, starting with Art Foundations. And then the real goal here is that you use this site as you go through and take other art classes at your OPRF, and you can add to your site as you go. So this particular class, you'll start out with Art Foundations, and then you can create new pages as you go in your website for your other classes. For example, you might have a drawing page, and then you'll have all your drawings inside of that particular class. This one will be your Art Foundations portfolio. Inside of it, you will have sculpture or clay, drawing, painting, printmaking, and photography. So let's get started on what are the first steps that you need to do in order to create this site for yourself. All right, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your Google page. So you're just plain old Google, just Google it. Go to Google and you're going to find your waffle at the top right-hand side. That waffle has got your Google Apps in it, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to find the one that says Sites, all right? You can get to this from any place. You can also be in your Drive and go to the waffle and find Sites. So once you go to Sites, it's going to load up here, and you are going to see this first page that has templates for you. So you can see that I've messed around with some of these. If you go to Template Gallery, you can see all of the options for yourself here to pick from. You can pick any one you want, and don't worry if you change your mind, you can always make another one. So there are some that are a little bit more conducive to an art portfolio website that have more options for photos, but in reality, you can use any one that you want in order to create a web page from. So it's really up to you. So I think with this one, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start. I'm going to use this one. You know what? I'm going to use this one called Photo Portfolio. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to set it up for you. It's going to load up that blank template. Okay, so once you've got this loaded up, the next thing we want to do is we want to set the document name, and we want to set your website or site name. All right, so this document name that you put in up here probably will be the same thing or very similar. This document name is going to be the same kind of thing that you have when you create a Google Doc or a sheet, anything that you find in Google that has a name in it when you look for that file. So I'm going to go ahead and just erase what's there, and I'm going to type in something that I would like to be my site name. So I don't want you to put your full name into the URL here. I want you to just maybe use either just your first name, Art Portfolio, or a nickname, Art Portfolio, but something that you wouldn't want, or I should say you wouldn't be embarrassed for someone to see if you submitted this to a job. You don't want to pick a weird name, you know, so pick something simple, clean, easy. So I'm going to say I'm going to say Mrs. White Art Portfolio. That's kind of long, but I'm going to stick with that for now. You know what? I'm going to erase the portfolio part and just go Miss White Art. Okay, so there we have that, and I am now going to just click off of it anywhere in the side or down here, and you can see what's going to happen is it's going to automatically populate that name here. Now, the reason it didn't, I think, is because I erased. So I'm going to copy and paste it here. If that doesn't happen for you, it doesn't automatically populate, just go ahead and copy paste right here in your site name spot at the top left of your website. Next thing we want to do is we want to go to the Publish button. This will give us a solid website. So I'm going to go here. It opens Publish Your Site. You're going to see Miss White Art. That's what I put in here. It automatically populates it here, but it takes out all the spaces because you cannot have a space in a website URL. If you don't like the fact that it pushed it all together, you could put dashes in between. That would work as well. It's going to give you this check mark. That's how you know that it is a good site name. All right. So it likes that, it says it's good. And then you can see down here, this gray name is my actual URL. All right, so https://sites.google.com/oprfhs.org/Mrs. White Arts. Yours is going to have the word student in it as well, so it's going to be a little bit longer, but that's okay because you can copy paste this link anywhere and you can embed it into places as well. So that's going to be my URL, and I'm going to copy that in a minute so that I can turn it into the Google form for this project, okay? Next, I want to go to this part right here. It says, who can view my site? Right now, it says anyone at OPRF can view my site. So I'm going to click manage on that, and it's going to bring up this other pop-up window. And in this pop-up window, you could choose to share this with someone right now, although you probably don't need to, but you could. You could have someone else collaborate with you for your website. But we want to go to this part right down below that says links, and it says links vary. So we're going to click change right here. And your default is going to say draft restricted. So this means that when you are in draft mode, so before you click publish, it's not going to let people see it until it's actually published. So that's good. So we want to leave draft restricted on there. And then the second one says published site, Oak Park and River Forest High School people can see it. All right. When we are done with this, you should change this to public. You can go ahead and change it to public now if you'd like to, or you can wait, but you have to set yourself in a reminder or something because you want this to be public in the long run so that everyone can see this. So I'm going to go ahead and say public right now, and then I'm going to say done. And then it's going to take me back to that previous pop-up window. And here I can double check, make sure everything looks good to me. I do not want to check this button. I'm fine with public search engines finding my site. I don't care. If you want to click that, you can. And I'm going to copy this entire website URL. So I'm just going to click and, oops, giving me a little bit of trouble. Click and drag. There we go. So that I copy the entire address, and then I'm going to Control-C or Command-C, whatever kind of device you have, so that you can copy this address. And I'm going to say publish. Great. Now, before I move on and do anything else, I want to go back right now because I copied that address. I want to go into my assignment here that says Google Websites on this day 2. And there should be a form in that assignment, or it might be in the assignment itself. And you're going to click on that form. And here is where you are going to paste that URL. So in mine, it looks like this year, period 2 or period 3. What's your name? And then here you would paste that website address right there and say submit. This is so your teacher will have access to see your site at all times, and specifically for, for progress and then for the end. All right, I'm going to leave this for a second. I don't need to actually do that right now. We're going to go back to this portfolio. All right, the next thing, now that we've got it published, the next thing that we want to do is I just want to show you what happens here where this saves and how you can come back to edit this again, okay? So we just called our site here. We actually created this one this time called Mrs. White Art, right? If I go into my Google Drive, so I'm going to navigate to my Google Drive. And you are going to see, if we scroll all the way down, now I have a lot of stuff in my drive, but I remember that I called it Mrs. White Art. So I'm looking for the N's. It's in alphabetical order. And I skipped it. There it is, Mrs. White Art. And the little icon looks like that. It's a little navy blue square. So it's always going to be in your Google Drive. So what I want you to do next is I want you to actually create a folder for your Google Drive called your G Site folder, okay, or Google Sites folder or something like that. So I'm going to call it G Site. So let me see here if I already created a folder called G Site. No, I have not. So I'm going to create that folder. So I'm going to say new here, folder, and I'm going to call this G Site and create. And there is my folder. And now I'm going to go to that Google site that I just created called Mrs. White Art, and I'm just going to move it by dragging it right into that G Sites folder. Where did it go? There we go. Now let's hope that went in there and not into the one right above it. Okay, so here we are inside the G Sites folder, and you can see that there is my site that I created. And I have a couple other sites in here as well that I created. So this one is the Miss White Art site. So if I click on that there, you can see this is how easy it is for you to come back and edit your site at any time. All you have to do is go to your Google Drive, find your G Sites folder, and you should have your website right in there. And then all you have to do is wait for it to load, and once it's loaded up, you'll have access to edit this at any time. You do not need to have a password as long as you are logged into your Google account. You'll be able to edit this. So let's go ahead in the next video and look at how to actually edit this so that it looks the way that you want it to look and has the pages that you want it to have and all of that good stuff. All right, so go to the next video if you want to start to see how to build the site.